Bitcoin's been on a roll, and now that's slowed somewhat at 50,000. How do we trade from here? And is 100K the ultimate destination, as the Bitcoiners have been longing for? Scott Bauer is with the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, BTC slowing down a little bit here at 50K. Is that expected, or should it have been the opposite and more buyers piling in?
I think after the run that we've seen, it's not unexpected, Oliver. Bitcoin, more so than any stock you would think of, has these psychological barriers. Normally big round numbers for a stock or a future, those are just big round numbers and psychological barriers. But in Bitcoin, these big numbers, the evens, the 50,000, 40,000, 30,000, those actually do stand as significant support and resistance. So, am I surprised that we kind of stalled a little bit here? No, not at all. And we may see a little bit further of a sell-off. I would think that around the 46.5 area is probably the next real big area of support here. However, if you go deeper into these Bitcoin markets here, the whale activity that we talk about often here, it is really, really increasing. There has never been a time where there's been more buy and hold of Bitcoin than there is now. People holding for more than 3 months rather than just trading, scalping in and out.
So, Scott, if we are going to make a trip back to those records, what do you want to see? Do you want to see just kind of support, consolidation here, or does Bitcoin need to get the move on, given that it does generally go up and down? Sideways is not usually a very sustainable direction for BTC.
So a big part of what you and I have discussed for years now is what is the exact correlation of Bitcoin to the dollar, to interest rates, et cetera. And so far, I think we both agreed, we both come up with that we don't know what that correlation really is. I think that we're seeing a little bit of risk off ahead of the Fed Jackson Hole meeting here. And again, I don't know what that direct correlation is. I mean, there's really no proven, part of that, but I think we are seeing a little bit of risk off. And I think once the news comes out, whatever the news is, once Jackson Hole news comes out, I think this rally continues, and we're going to be up above 50,000.
So, Scott, to your point there, no kind of measurable, tradable, statistical correlation, no. But in terms of the big picture, the connection to easy money, liquidity, and irresponsibility from central bankers is kind of at the core of the Bitcoin narrative. How do you think that plays into Friday? I'm kind of watching it as one of the key tells. What do you think? I mean, is that giving it too much credit as a macro indicator, thinking about its relevance on as big of a day as Jackson Hole?
I do. I still don't know what the correlation is. And I don't think whatever they say is really going to have an effect, from a technical standpoint. I think that what we're looking at is a little bit of risk off right now. And once that news is out, again, regardless of what correlation it has to Bitcoin, I think the rally begins again. And I think the next stop, honestly, is probably 54 once it sustains itself above 50.
What if Powell does surprise and say that we're going to start drawing things back a little bit? Do you think that puts pressure on the crypto space?
It absolutely could. And that's why I think that, the 46.5 level is something really critical to watch.
Okay.
That also aligns itself with a big moving average number. So we could see that. I absolutely think we could see that. But again, I think regardless of what Powell says, once that news is out, once that uncertainty is out, I think that rally just continues.
Hey, Scott, do you believe generally this market's optimism about seemingly the economic situation right now? We've been talking about it now for 2 days straight, this big rip and things connected to the recovery. You trading it? You chasing it?
I'm definitely not chasing it. I'm trading it a little bit back and forth. I don't want to say it's hard to buy into it, Oliver, but it's so hard to trade economic news week to week because we've seen changes so drastic, in report to report here. So I don't think there's anything definitive out there. If anything, I do believe that we are slowing down. I know we've seen, some decent numbers. We've seen some bad numbers. I do think we're slowing down, and it concerns me a little bit, to be quite honest with you.
All right. Scott, thanks for the thoughts. Always a nice little session looking at Bitcoin ahead of everything is leading into this big event, right? So I like the point about the overall kind of general risk connection, perhaps, but nothing necessarily you can really drop on an Excel sheet as far as Bitcoin correlations
Exactly.
go. All right, Scott, we'll catch up. Thank you very much, Mr. Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.